Hi, best friends. I'm Tabby.
And I'm Caitlin, and today we are doing a little book check to see kind of where we're at and what we've read so far this year.
We're about halfway through 2023, which is crazy.
That is crazy. Honestly, I think like so much has just happened this year already that it doesn't feel like it's been half a year.
I'm very behind.
I am too. Yeah, so first of all, let's talk about our Goodread challenges. Um, I'm pretty sure that I said I wanted to read 100 books this year. I'm not on track. Yeah. So I said that I wanted to read 100 books in 2023. So far, I've read 29.
That's okay.
It is okay. Because you know what? Reading is for fun.
What book are you currently reading?
Ooh, the book that I'm currently reading, it is part of a series where they're kind of intertwined. It's the Red Zone Rivals series.
Hmm.
And I've kind of been like picking and choosing which ones I want to read based on the tropes. So right now I'm reading book number 2 called Blindside, and it's a fake dating trope. So
Cute.
far. Yeah, I actually started with the 4th one, which is funny because I didn't
I feel like
realize.
you always do that.
So what happens is a book will come up on TikTok and I'm like, that sounds really good. So I start with that one and then, kind of
Yeah,
pick
you
and
did that
choose.
with like another series.
I did. And I can't remember what it's called, but I know exactly
I
what.
read it too, and it wasn't very, it wasn't very
See,
good.
but the first one that I read was pretty good, so you should have just done it my way.
You're right.
But the first and the third book of these series, I'm just like not as intrigued by the tropes and the storylines.
Well, what has been your favorite book this year?
Okay, this is also a series, but specifically, my favorite book is the first of the magical dating agency books called Love
Hmm.
and Curse Making by Kelly St. Clair. So let me paint you a picture. We're talking like urban fantasy, Crescent City type vibes. That's the setting we're in. The magical like creature that the main character is, she's a Cupid. And the history is that like Cupids aren't really like powerful anymore. Like their ancestors were more powerful, but everyone
Mm-hmm.
just kind of assumes that they don't have power. But she has a dating agency that she runs because even though people like no Cupids aren't really powerful anymore, they still like do it as kind of like a gimmick type thing. But the secret is she does have powers and she has to keep it hidden because people used to like imprison her type because they can make you fall in love. That would be like really like coveted.
Yeah.
So she has to keep it a secret that she really has powers. But she's a Cupid and her power is love and she has to keep that a secret. But she is also cursed to not be able to be in a romantic relationship.
Ah.
And so, but it's so funny. The book is so funny. It'll make you laugh. It'll make you blush and giggle and kick your feet. Like
I
it's
want to
10
read
out of 10.
it.
It's so cute. And there's 3 books in the series altogether. Like I said, the first one is my favorite, but I would recommend, reading them all just because it rounds it out for you.
Yeah. Well, what has been your least favorite book this year?
My least favorite
It
is
was Den of
actually
Vipers, but it's
Den of
fine.
Vipers, but we beat that dead horse. So, least favorite, this one was disappointing because, again, it was recommended to me through TikTok, and I was like, ooh, this sounds like good. Like, this sounds spicy and good. It's called Until I Get You by Claire Contreras, and it's a standalone, which I love. It's a new adult book and it's a like a hockey romance. He's a hockey player. So I
I'm
was like,
like
ooh,
a little whore for hockey
I
romances.
know. So I had all these things going for it, but it just wasn't good. And like the story was kind of stupid to me
That reminds me of Icebreaker. What would you say it was?
until I get you.
Okay, there's a book called Icebreaker that was kind of like that.
Icebreaker, I if that's the one I'm
Trash.
thinking of, I couldn't even get past the second
It's
chapter.
trash.
This one I did read the whole thing. But part of the problem is she has like a stalker who's like abused her and she's like keeping their relationship a secret because she doesn't want the stalker to like know about her boyfriend and like hurt him. but she doesn't like tell him any of that. And then
Huh.
it's kind of like in the second Monsters and Muses book when she just kind of like flees and changes her identity and he like hunts her down.
Interesting.
It's kind of like that storyline, but it's not as good as that because I kind of liked that.
Does she end up falling in love with her stalker?
No, the
Oh.
stalker is actually really bad and
Oh,
abusive.
damn. Okay.
Yeah, no, the stalker is not the love interest at all.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get
And
it.
yeah, it was just disappointing, unfortunately.
Not really into that.
I don't recommend it.
What are you most looking forward to reading this year?
I have a few. So first of all, Happy Place came out last
So
month.
stoked.
Well, in April. It came out in April.
Yeah.
And I still haven't read it, but we will be reading it soon.
We're saving it for our episode.
I'm very excited to read that one. Another that came out in April was The Fiancé Farce by Alexandria Bellfleur. I still have not read that one, and I am very excited to do so. So those two I've been holding on to for a while. But also, there's a couple Tessa Bailey books that I need to catch up on. So, Secretly Yours, I have heard mixed things, and it doesn't have the highest rating on Goodreads. It's only got 3.38 stars out of 40,000 ratings.
That's bad. That's really bad.
Okay, well, this one, it's like I really want to read it because it's a rom-com about a professor, and it's like I want to read it.
Yeah.
The other one, book 2 of that series, is Unfortunately Yours, which hasn't come
coming out.
Yeah. But I am excited because that one's more enemies to lovers.
That one looked good.
Yeah. So that's all of like my book check stuff. So what about you? What about your reading challenge?
I am at 30. My goal was 100 also because I was very ambitious last year and I did meet my goal, but it took a lot out of me to do it. So I dropped it down to 100 this year. I'm actually only at 35, so I'm a little bit behind on mine as well. I've just been trying not to like force myself to read books that I don't love.
Exactly.
And I'm glad I'm doing that, actually.
Yeah, it makes it more enjoyable. And like last year, I didn't quite make 100 books, but I still felt very accomplished and I enjoyed most of the books that I read.
I love that.
What are you currently reading?
So I'm actually currently reading 2 different books.
I do that all the time.
Well, I'm listening to one and then I'm reading another. So right now I'm listening to the Cruel Prince series by Holly Black. And it's been surprisingly very, very good. I'm not usually like a big young adult reader. Yeah. But I've been really, really enjoying like listening to it in the morning. So that's what I do like when I wake up. And then I'm reading, I can't remember what this series is called, but the first one is called The Serpent and the Wings of Night. So I'm on the second book in that series right now.
Okay. You've told me about that one. I haven't read it yet.
Yes. And it's super, super good. It's like, it's fantasy, but it like does have some contemporary things to it, which I really like.
I love
so
that
it's like a little easier to follow along with. And it's also just like very different. Like it's a different type of story. And so that's been really refreshing.
Awesome. Those sound really good.
Highly recommend it.
What was your favorite thing that you've read so far this year?
I had a couple. So the first one is the Alex Stern series, and that's like The Ninth House and Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. Yes. And so I always told Caitlin that I would never read another Leigh Bardugo book again because of the
Shadow and Bone.
Yeah, Shadow and Bone series. But The Ninth House and Hellbent, those are so freaking good. So it's set at, I think it's Yale's campus. I can't remember. But like there's just so much history that surrounds it. And like there's a lot of really cool like ritualistic stuff that goes into it, which I love that kind of stuff anyway.
It sounds like dark academia. Like
it is dark academia. And like the characters like are so interesting because like you hate them one chapter but you love them the next, and like they're just very complex, and I love that. Like no one is like just black and white. There's a lot of just like gray characters.
That's our favorites.
Yes. And so I really, really enjoyed those. Unfortunately, Leigh Bardugo is not in a big hurry to write the third one, and she said she's going to focus on some other projects before returning to it. And I was like, well, that's kind of shitty, but
Other projects, my ass.
Whatever, Lee. This is why I don't read your books.
We're back to being mad at her.
Anyway, they're really good. And then the other one, okay, so it's by J.L. Vampa. It was called Autumn of the Grimoire. I actually listened to this one on my way back to Missouri, and it was like very witchy and like
Fuck yeah.
like spooky vibes at first, and then like it gets into like this whole other story, but it's like some of the characters are like a death god and like the people who like collect souls for them and stuff, and like it is so freaking interesting. And they just released the second one. It's called Winter of the Wicked. So basically there's like four sisters and they're called the Sister Solstice. And so there's like autumn, winter, spring, and summer. And like each of them have like different things that they do, but they all share this grimoire. And the grimoire gives them like a list of things they need to accomplish during each of their seasons.
Okay, so those and then like the Ninth House and Hellbent, they all sound like things that I should read this fall. Like they sound very spooky.
So good.
Oh, I love those vibes. Like my favorite time of the year is autumn and just like getting back into my dark academia aesthetic. Like that's my fucking shit.
Yeah, I really enjoyed those. They were really good. So if you haven't read them, definitely do it.
I will. And what was your least favorite thing that you read besides Den of Vipers? Of course.
Despite Den of Vipers, I actually did read something that was worse than Den of Vipers because yes. I don't know. I think I told you about it. It was called Cruel Black Hearts. And so I saw this on TikTok, right? Mm-hmm. And I love a good serial killer book. Love a good serial killer book, especially when like the love interest is a serial killer, because I'm always like, how are you going to get out of this?
Like the Mindfuck series.
But it was also a reverse harem. Well, it wasn't even a reverse harem. It was more like a throuple.
Okay.
But it was disgusting.
Oh.
Like it was like gory just for like this sake of being gory type of thing. It's like they made this girl like slice out, like, okay, so she also is a little twisted too, but like they made like other people like cut people open and like got off on it, and like
like Diesel.
Yeah, but it was like removing like organs and like body parts, and like they liked like that, like turned them on type thing. And like I just like, I'm not super into that. That like kind of crosses the line for me personally. And if you like dark romance, like you'll probably like that. But that was like more than dark romance.
No, like I do feel like, to be fair,
I've read some shady stuff before.
Yeah, like I would tell people, I would be like, yeah, I love dark romance books, but that's not what I mean. I want to. That's not what this was. That is.
It was just like disturbing. And like I think like it's good to read stuff like that though, so you know like kind of what your boundary is for like what you're willing to read.
Yeah.
But like I was like, I read the first book and I was shaken to my core that I was like, I don't think I can keep reading this.
That honestly just sounds like, which I guess I would rather people read about it than actually do it in real life. So,
and it had like glowing reviews.
Wow.
Like it had good reviews, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be good. Nope, it wasn't good.
Well,
for me at least,
that some people appreciate it, and
if you like that book, good on you. It just was not for me.
Yeah,
I was scared.
No, like that actually sounds terrifying.
It was really scary.
Oh, and what are you looking forward to reading this year?
So I actually have a few books that I'm really looking forward to reading. So the first one is, I think it's the 5th or 6th book in the Fortuna Sworn series.
Ooh, I've got to read those too.
I've been waiting so long for this book to come out. I love Fortuna Sworn. It's called Endless Terrors. It's by KJ Sutton. If you haven't read them, they're actually not free on Kindle. You do have to pay for them, but they're worth it. I am also looking forward to A Touch of Chaos by Scarlett St. Clair. So that is the Hades and Persephone book. A Touch of Darkness is the first one.
Yes, you've told me about those.
Yeah,
as well.
I feel like, Greek mythology mixed with like contemporary characters, then this
That
is
I
for
do.
you. It's like a retelling of Greek gods, which I always am a sucker for. Obviously, I am excited for Gold, the fifth Plated Prisoner book by Raven Kennedy. If you haven't read the Plated Prisoner series, you definitely should. I'm not gonna lie, the first one, it's a little hard to get through.
Yeah.
And I think anybody will admit that it's a little hard to get through. But
It's
once you do, it's worth it. It is. I had to put it down for a while, but I'm glad I came back to it.
They're very good, though.
I am super, super excited for Throne of the Fallen. So this is by Carrie Maniscalco. She wrote the Kingdom of the Wicked series, which Caitlin and I will be covering here in like a month or so. This is a sequel to Kingdom of the Wicked. So I won't get super into it because we don't want to ruin anything for you. But it is I'm so excited. It's a very highly anticipated book. And then the last one is Fate of the Sun King. So these ones are called what are they called? The Artifacts of Uranus. It's by Nisha J. Tooley. So she writes like I think that like a lot of them are like Asian-based characters. But the first one's called Trial of the Sun King. And it is like very similar at first to ACOTAR. Like it's giving those types of vibes. However, it starts to kind of like break off into its own thing afterwards. Wait, just kidding. That one doesn't come out till 2024, so I'm not anticipating that one this year.
But still excited for it.
I thought it came out this year, and now I'm kind of bummed.
Oh, well, you know what? There's so many things we're excited to read that time will fly, and you'll be reading it before you know it.
Yes. Yeah, lots of books coming out this year. So just if you haven't, get on Book Talk. Sometimes it's a little scary there, but it does have some good recommendations.
And sometimes you'll be disappointed by the books that it made you read, but that's okay. It's all part of the experience, in my opinion.
And you don't have to finish those books. You can DNF a book.
You can DNF. You know what? I need to work on DNFing.
I just like checking off that I read a book on Goodreads.
I know, but you know what? Check it off anyway. You read it and you didn't like it, so you DNF'd it.
I didn't like it. But I did try.
I feel like it's one of those things where people are like, I need to work on setting boundaries and saying no more. I need to work on being okay with DNFing a book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's right.
So join us next week. We are going to be talking about Happy Place, which is
we're so excited.
Yes, I'm so excited to read it, and we're recording this episode a little early, so that's why I haven't started on it yet. Don't think I'm procrastinating too much.
We probably will still.
We probably will. We'll be reading it the week before. The week after, we are going to be doing a little mini-sode about Emily Henry, kind of going through some of her new stuff that she's working on, kind of checking in on her social media and seeing what's up.
Yeah, giving you a list of some books by her that you should really check out that we haven't covered yet.
Yes, and yeah, because I think we've only covered so far Lovers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we'll kind of talk so many others. Our thoughts and feelings about the other ones, without spoiling anything. Love her books. So go ahead and get started on Happy Place if you haven't already. We'll talk to you next week, and as always,
let's get lit.